Yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, because here is where we break down the real things where most of the people are afraid to talk about. So today we're going to talk about Jamaica as speaking Nigerian IGBO. So here's the thing. When we talk about Jamaican patois, most people just think it's broken English or some random island slang. But what if I told you it's actually a survival language? A language built by enslaved Africans who had to find a way to hold on their roots, even when everything was done to erase them. Now, among these Africans are huge numbers of Igbo people, yes, from modern day Nigeria. So folks, let me not talk much. Let's watch this video so that we can meet after the video, we can talk about it. Feel free to comment, keep the comment section healthy, and folks, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, because here is the place you're supposed to be. Let's get into it.
Wherever you go in this world, you will always find a Jamaican, a Nigerian, and a Mexican. We multiply this earth like Nick Cannon. When God was making Jamaicans, Nigerians, and Mexicans, he made backup. He made extra. There's even a Jamaican Kardashian. There might even be a Mexican and Nigerian Kardashian. I don't know. Somebody today told me that they're Tanzanian Jamaican, and I was like, did your parents meet in the States? And they're like, no, my dad, who's Jamaican, met my mom in Tanzania. What was a Jamaican doing in Tanzania? Like, how did they get there? Then a couple days ago, this video of this girl who's Russian and Nigerian showed up on my FYP. I feel like there's some countries in this world where I never meet people from. Like Paraguay, for example. I've never met, well, yes, I met one person from Paraguay in my whole entire life. I have a theory. I feel like if you don't know a Jamaican, then you know a Nigerian. If you don't know a Nigerian, you know a Mexican. Because we're everywhere, bitch. You can't get rid of us.
I feel like if you're Jamaican and anything African, how does it work? For example, Jamaica and Nigeria. How is that household not chaotic? Both of these two nations are proud. Like, you know. So when someone says, I'm half Jamaican, half Nigerian, I stay away. I stay away. I stay away. Because I don't want the drama, please. Me not want trouble. So you're saying Jamaica and Nigeria met and they found peace. And then you were born. How? Like, I'm not really a Plutomanian, but this is a collision of two worlds. It's mad. Don't let me start on the Jamaican Ghanaian, Jamaican Zim, and Jamaican Congolese. Let me not. Anyway, if I've mentioned your mix, comment down below. If you're Jamaican and African, comment your mix down below. Make sure you follow me too.
But people, can you imagine? Everybody from Manchester are protesting that I should leave the UK, that I'm not from England, that I not be organic or Igbo. They bought my mom and papa, they bought me for UK because they say I speak Nigerian language, that I'm Nigerian. I told them, Nigerian people don't finish me for UK. They don't finish my accent for UK. I can't speak English again. I stayed for Nugu State Obago for 2 years for Nigeria. After Buchipke Obonna, Obago, Nugu State, Amazon, Nigeria. And everybody complain now in the UK that they're going to go to home office and say that I'm not from UK. That I'm not supposed to work in the UK. That I have to leave the country. Everyone they speak to inside the shop, they go complain, say I can't speak English. Speak English to me or in shop. They say my English don't go. Even when I go to doctor or GP, I can't speak English. I have to show them Google Translator. Or I have to write them for paper and show them. Look, Nigeria don't finish me with the virus. Remember when I go the other day for vaccine for doctor, they come for Nigeria vaccine, but they start speaking pitchy now. The English accent don't go. One word I can't speak in English. My mama and papa at home, I can't speak English. And they're from England. They're from England here. They born me English. They're English at home. They ask me, why are you speaking like this too? I say, Nigerian don't feeling me for this country. But I decide to leave this country, pack my look and go back to my state, Nigeria, Obago. Nigeria, give me a visa, passport, I beg. Chile can give me out. I'm not tired. Once I get my passport and visa, bye-bye UK. I don't leave you guys. I don't pay for no leave to remain in this UK when they bomb me here. Ha. Everywhere for UK, they be a bam, they be.
Alright guys, I hope you guys are doing well. As many of you may know, I am from Nigeria. I am from the IGBO tribe of Nigeria. And I live in Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean. I have been gradually observing a lot of things that have me excited, pleasantly excited. I realized that some of the slangs or words that Caribbean people use actually originated from some tribe in Africa. For example, Jamaica, they use the word unu a lot. I hear that in a lot of Jamaican music. Unu. Sometimes I will hear something that goes unu doom. I'm like, what? Listen, don't tell me that these people are using our language. And that's part of their everyday word. One day I heard it in another song. I said, no, I want to go research. Now, unu in my tribe means all of you. When they say unu dum bia, meaning all of you come. And when we say unu, it means all of you. When we say unu dum, the doom at the end stresses on the fact that I want all of you to come, that they are calling everyone to come. And Jamaican people use that a lot. I'm like, okay, let me go research. When I did my research, I figured out that unu also mean all of you. I'm like, hold up, how did that happen? Did they borrow it from the tribe? Maybe during the time of slavery, many of their ancestors came with some of their tribal languages. So it keeps showing me that, listen, these people in the Caribbean, especially Afro-Caribbean, truly came from Africa, truly came from Nigeria and the Ghana, especially the Igbo tribes and the Yoruba tribe as well. Caribbean people use the word mumu. Everybody in Nigeria know when you say that guy na mumu, meaning that guy is stupid, he's fool, he's not smart enough. And in the Caribbean, it means the same. Mumu. Come on, man, hold up. This is becoming more interesting for me, to be honest.
Bro, can someone please tell me why this whole entire time I thought all of Jamaica looked like this? But bro, I just literally saw a video of what Jamaica actually looks like. There's no freaking way, bro. There is no freaking way Jamaica looks like this. Let me show you. Wait, what? There's no way, bro. There is no way Jamaica looks like that. Since when?
So the Igbo language is classified as an endangered language. Today, let's talk about why. When a language is considered endangered, it means that it is at risk for possible extinction over time. While there are millions of people that currently speak the Igbo language, there are a couple of major factors that threaten Igbo's longevity. And one of those factors is problems with intergenerational transfer. So when we talk about intergenerational transfer, we talk about the way and the quality of Igbo that is being passed down from generation to generation. And problems with this transfer are seen both in Nigeria and outside of it too. There's a common misconception that teaching your children Igbo and English at the same time will confuse them. So there was a time when a lot of people would forego teaching their children Igbo for English. And as a result, there are a lot of people that grew up hearing the Igbo language, but weren't always encouraged to speak it. And they developed receptive bilingualism, which is when you can understand a language but can't speak it. And when you have a large number of people that can only understand a language, it makes it hard to pass it down. But even amongst fluent speakers, there are still possible problems with intergenerational transfer because of things like Nglibo. So a lot of us who currently speak Igbo or can understand it to some degree are familiar with Nglibo, which is when you blend English and Igbo together, and that also results in the creation of words that aren't necessarily pure Igbo. And so passing down Nglibo as well can also lead to a transfer of a more diluted version of the Igbo language, which could lead to like the loss of words just because they aren't being used anymore. Additionally, the Igbo language and the Igbo culture in some areas are pretty intertwined. So even if we are passing down the language, if we are not passing down the more cultural elements of it, so like ilu, like proverbs, or even like what the language can be used for, such as in traditions like Iwaji, then we are passing down the language, but some of the things that the language is being used for could potentially just decline because they're not being passed down from generation to generation. And to talk more about the different ways that a language can be used, it's important not only to pass down spoken Igbo, but written Igbo too. And sometimes there can be less of an emphasis on teaching people how to read and write Igbo, and more of an emphasis on teaching them how to speak. And the problem with that is we need written Igbo to preserve orthography or like a written system, because that's what exposes us or allows us to document different dialects and create Igbo learning resources. A common counter-argument that I hear is, well, there are tons of people in the East that speak Igbo. We'll be fine. That might be the case, but it doesn't negate the fact that there are a growing number of Igbo people in the diaspora that are at greater risk of losing their language because it is a lot harder to find resources outside of Nigeria to be able to learn the Igbo language. It also doesn't change that even within Nigeria, there are certain opinions about the respectability of the Igbo language that could affect the way that it's being transferred there too. The decline of a language is not something that happens overnight. So even if it seems like so many people speak Igbo, it's still important to engage in preservation efforts to ensure that it stays alive.
Yeah, folks, let's get into it. I hope you watched that video. It's very interesting, by the way, because the Nigerian people and the Jamaican people are able to speak Igbo language. So let's get one thing straight here. Jamaican patois is not broken English. It's a language of survival, born out of pain, out of resilience, and out of resistance. When enslaved Africans were taken to Jamaica, they were stripped of their identity. But language found a way to survive. Among these Africans were the Igbo people from what is now southeastern Nigeria. And somehow, those centuries of oppressions, part of the language still live in Jamaican patois today. These aren't a coincidence. They're linguistic fingerprints, pieces of a mother tongue that refused to die, even when everything else was stripped away. Think about this. The system never wanted us to know this. The colonial power weren't just erasing language, they were trying to erase memory. But if we knew that African culture survived, if we knew our ancestors were clever enough and strong enough to hide their identity in plain sight, we might start reclaiming it. But guess what? The time is now. We're reclaiming it, word by word, truth by truth. So the next time you hear Jamaican patois, don't just hear the rhythm or the slang. Listen deeper. You might be hearing echoes of African, of Nigerian, of Igbo people still alive in the voices of Jamaican today. This is more than just language. It's history. It's legacy. It's proof that even when everything was taken away, our ancestors still found a way to speak their truth. And now it's time we recognize that truth. If this opened your eyes and made you pause for a second, drop a comment and let me know what you think about this topic. Maybe you have heard these words before. Maybe you have even used them not knowing where they came from. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button and don't forget to share this video to whoever you know that might need to hear this, because we are here to educate each other. So folks, until next time, stay curious. Remember, our roots run deeper than they even told us. Folks, don't forget subscribe, like and share, because I'm always bringing you the videos which I know is better served in Nigeria, Jamaica, and even the USA. So brothers and sisters, may God be with you. Peace.